now my honor and pleasure to introduce Kim Lemon as today's commencement speaker.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Words cannot express my heart. President Anderson, trustees, distinguished faculty, administration and staff, parents, family members, students, soon-to-be graduates, I am deeply grateful to find myself in this moment of time in such harmony with the mission of Millersville University. A university set apart and recognized not only for its excellence, but its outstanding sense of community and purpose. I accept this award, and I hold it in my heart, not only as my own, but I share this with my co-workers and my employer, WGAL, who shares this vision of community service and purpose. Some of my fellow co-workers are here with us today. Our President and General Manager, John Humphreys, is here. Our General Sales Manager, Nancy Tooley. New State's education reporter, Ann Shannon, is here. Her niece, Gabby, is among the graduating class today. And Professor Calhoun, we got to hold him to the weather, he says hello to all of his graduating seniors today. As President Anderson said, I was born and raised here in Lancaster County, and like my co-anchor, Ron Martin, have made a decision to stay in the area and make a difference. I was blessed beyond measure the day I was hired at WGAL some 36 years ago. My father, who's here today, Rule Dean Lemon, was an industrial arts major here at Millersville, and he said, "Hun, if you like your job, you are gonna like your life." And Daddy, I have had a happy life, thank you. When I was first approached by President Anderson to be your commencement speaker today, I thought to myself, how kind for him to recognize my deep and personal commitment to Millersville University. As it turns out, he did not know how great this honor would be for me. Were it not for Millersville State Teachers College, I would not be standing here today. You see, my parents met here on campus 60 years ago. And my mother, who passed quite suddenly 18 months ago, was Shirley Pickle. And she was an education major and the 1955 Sweetheart Queen of Millersville State Teacher College. My dad was part of the synchronized swimming team, and as my mother sat on her throne, my father went by as part of the routine, and they started dating that night. Yeah. And if you are connecting the dots, yes, a pickle did marry a lemon. My mother would be so proud to see me standing here today. I invited her former college roommate, Madeline Casal, to join us today. And when my mother passed, I found myself with the sad task of going through her personal belongings. I got to my mother's underwear drawer, and I found this, an embroidered case. It was tucked in the top of the drawer. I had no idea what it was. I opened it up and saw this, a pearlized compact. And on the back, for those 82 years of her life, she carried the compact engraved on the back that said, Millersville State Teacher College, Sweetheart Queen, 1955. So, Mommy, I know my mommy would be so proud to see me here today. And it was from both my parents that I learned the fundamentals of a good life. Telling the truth, treating everyone you meet with a kind heart, showing respect, learning people's names, living your life with a servant's heart, and never placing yourself above others. But it was really my mother who instilled in me this sense of community service. After a long teaching career at Warwick School District, she started one of the first preschools in Lancaster County and worked as a Christian educator. Some years later, she was approached by the Mannheim Township Police Department to teach at-risk youth, young kids, really young kids, some of them in elementary school, the fundamentals of a good life. She created a program called Heartwood to teach these youngsters about the ideals of integrity, honesty, living a life of purpose. And she volunteered more than 100,000 hours, perhaps only thousands, but it seemed like 100,000 hours. But I saw personally the way that a small person in this way could make a big difference in the community. Each of you, class, each of you has walked a long road to get here today. Perhaps you are the first in your family to graduate from college. But in this moment, I invite you to remind yourself of your divine purpose and the many sacrifices that were made on your behalf to have you sit here in this moment. There are many of us who believe that God commands us to honor our fathers and our mothers. But I believe that we are commanded to honor not just our literal father and mothers, but the people in our lives who became the tipping points for wonder and success in our lives. Perhaps for you, it was a beloved aunt, a guidance counselor. In my case, my debate coach, Dr. Hufford at Clarion University. Maybe a grandmother who said, "You can do this. Go, be, do." I'm asking you right now, in this instant, to say a personal thank you to that person who put you here this morning. And so now I will come to the crux of what I came here to say, and I hope you will honor my 36 years of service at WGAL and put down your cell phones and listen to this. You can never know what life will hold. Some of it will be wondrous and kind, and some of it will be horrifying. It will be heartbreaking. But in every instant, as you call forth your best self, remember your divine purpose and live a life of gratitude and kindness. So let me begin with this concept of divine purpose. There's a reason why you are here right now. There is no one else like you on the planet. And I personally believe that there are no accidents in the universe. God puts you where he needs you. The 14th century Persian poet Hafiz wrote, "This place where you are right now, God circled on a map for you." This place where you are right now, God circled on a map for you. In this instant, I want you to stop looking in the rearview mirror, remembering how things were. Stop telling yourself the same old stories about yourself, that I'm too shy to do that, I could never do that, I'm too stupid to do that, I could never be liked enough to be accepted. Whatever it is, make it stop now. Now. And start claiming the life that God has prepared for you. Several years ago, when Oprah was planning her final show, I interviewed an Oprah fanatic. His name was Jimmy, and he stocked the shelves of a Giant in suburban Harrisburg. But somehow, over the years, through his persistent letter writing and calls to Oprah's producers, he made himself known not only to Oprah Winfrey, but her producers. And when the final show aired, Jimmy was invited to the taping in Chicago. And as you know, Oprah lavished those guests with some of the most incredible gifts. Well, days later, after the show, I was assigned to go to his apartment to interview Jimmy. The walls of his apartment, his modest apartment, were covered with magazine covers from Oprah's magazine. He woke up every day to covers that screamed, "Live your best life," "Pastel colors pop," "Act your age," lessons from fearless women. And in his dining room was the loot from that incredible day. There was a cowboy hat, he had fancy scarves, he had trip vouchers, fantastic reminders of what that perfect day had been for Jimmy. And I said, "Oh my heavens, Jimmy, this is incredible. What does it mean?" And Jimmy looked at me and he said, "Kim, God will dream a bigger dream for you than you can imagine." And while some of us may say humbling, was that the best reward possible? For Jimmy it was. And those words have always stayed with me. George Saunders, who is a professor at Syracuse and an author, writes, "Anything is possible. Stay open forever. Stay so open it hurts, and then open up some more until the day you die. World without end. Amen." The second part of my message today has to do with gratitude. Life will begin to make more sense to you when you start living a life of gratitude and thanksgiving. And remember, in your flawed human way, how God Himself needs to hear from you. Albert Schweitzer, a Nobel Peace Prize winner and a Lutheran theologian, invites each of us to give thanks even in the face of great hardship and disappointment. He writes in a sermon delivered in Alsace in November of 1904, and I quote, "When your gratitude ascends to God, you yourself are lifted above a worldly view of life, and everything below you disappears from sight. You realize how your life rests in Him. You see the world as it is in Him. What seemed hard before becomes easy. And when you feel weak, when you feel downcast, when you feel sad, start giving thanks. Things will go better. Force yourself to do it. And if your heart angrily objects and asks, 'What's the good?' don't let it rest. Make it search then and there for something to be grateful for. For the greatest thing is to give thanks for everything. He who has learned this knows what it means to live. He has penetrated the whole mystery of life, giving thanks for everything." End quote. I have had to work very hard the past 6 years to remind myself of the importance of gratitude. Nearly 6 years ago, my husband was diagnosed at a very early age with a degenerative brain disease called Lewy body dementia. It is a combination of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, psychosis, and it is bad. It is so bad, in fact, and so debilitating that I am no longer able to take care of him, and he is, in this instant, in a dementia unit. But this tragedy has forced me, as his wife, as his companion, as his advocate, and my caregiver to him, to dig deep into the deepest part of myself. And I'm telling you, it has not been pretty. I have watched my strong, beautiful husband slip away. I have watched as my girls struggle with the loss of their father, who is here and yet gone. And I have begged God for mercy, and I have cried until I cannot cry anymore. And I have asked God why. And because of what I do, I have had to do a lot of this publicly. But somewhere along the way, I remembered who I was, and I remembered my divine purpose. And I remembered that perhaps this great sadness in my life might have a divine purpose, and that I might be being called upon to deliver my best self. And like you, after many losses here on campus, I decided to turn that heartache into community service. We saw it here on campus after Elisa Burns and Kiara Allen worked to raise awareness and healing funds for the family of Carly Hall and David Weiser. I started a support group. I wrote and produced a number of stories about dementia and the struggles of caregivers, and I started to accept speaking engagements where I could speak about my truth to this. And in some small measure, do you know what, guys? It has worked. I am still here. I am standing here, and I am fully present, looking for ways to show up for my life. There's something that I carry in my wallet, and I read it while I was on an airplane. It's from those Hemisphere magazine, and I just read it. It's from comic Mark Maron. And he writes, "You are always going to have to shoulder another damn heartbreak. It's just part of being alive. The only way to protect yourself is to think, I did not expect this to happen. And I'm showing up for work, and I'm okay with myself, and I'm okay with this, and I am enjoying myself, and I am doing the best I can." Last month, former Olympian Bruce Jenner went public with his truth. And as you may have seen when Diane Sawyer interviewed him and he told the rest of the world that he is transgender, during the course of the interview, Diane said to Bruce, "If you were me, what question would you ask?" And Jenner replied, "I would ask, are you going to be okay?" So Sawyer said, "Are you going to be okay?" And Jenner replied, "Yes, I will be okay because I am finally living the truth of my life." Yes, this life of yours will be wondrous. It will be magnificent. It will require your attention. It will require your bravery to show up for your truth. On this day, turn the page, live your life with intensity, with purpose, and awareness of your divine self, and do it with a grateful heart. Before I close, I need to publicly thank my father for his gentle spirit, for teaching me the capacity for hard work. Daddy, I still have people come to me and say, "Is Mr. Lemon your father?" He changed my life. It's true. I need to publicly thank my beloved daughter Meg and Morgan, who could not be with us today. I have never had a bad day with the two of you. Thank you. I need to publicly thank my cherished husband, John, my entire family for their love and complete support, and my friends, many of whom are here today, who continue to love like family. So, on this morning of stunning possibilities, I am going to let my mother have the last word on this Mother's Day. Before she passed, she kept a journal for her grandchildren, and in it, she left these words of advice for a happy life. First, remember that love does no wrong to anyone. Number 2, be beautiful inside your heart. Number 3, and my personal favorite, leave something to be wished for. 4th, be intimidators of God. 5th, remember, an admission of error is a sign of strength. 6th, remember, when one door closes, another opens. And last, never think that God's delays are God's denials. Hold on, hold fast. Patience is genius. Yes, that was my mother in 1955, sweetheart queen of Millersville State Teachers College. It has been my extreme pleasure and privilege to speak before you today. I am honored beyond measure and pleased to see that in some way my own divine purpose has shown up. May your road be smooth. Travel with a clean and open heart. Remember who you are. You are building a reputation, and with it you are creating God's legacy for your life. Thank you, Millersville, for this tremendous honor to speak with you today. I love you guys. God bless.